Today, I'm going to talk about Apamada, heedfulness, diligence, non-negligence. Apamada. The Buddha has explained, or the Buddha has talked about this Apamada Dhamma in many discourses. So this Apamada Dhamma is the very important Dhamma in the teachings of the Buddha. The last word of the Buddha, the last word of the Buddha to his disciples is Vayatama Sankhara Appamadena Sampadeta. You may heard the Buddha's last word, and especially Appamadena Sampadeta. The Buddha always reminds his disciples by saying Appamadena Sampadeta. So Vayatama Sankhara, all conditioned dhammas are subject to decay. Therefore, Appamadena Sampadeta, strive on diligently. In his lifetime, also every day, the Buddha reminded his disciples, strive on diligently. The Buddha always said to the monks. So this Apamada Dhamma is a very important Dhamma in the teachings of the Buddha. And when we talk about Apamada, we should talk about Pamada too. Pamada and Apamada are opposite dhammas, two opposite dhammas. Pamada is negligence, carelessness, and forgetfulness. Apamada is diligence, heedfulness, and not forgetfulness. Pamada negligence is to perform, to forgetting to perform wholesome deeds and forgetting to refrain from unwholesome deeds. That is Pamada, negligence. Forgetting to do the wholesome deeds and forgetting to refrain from unwholesome deeds. That is negligence, Pamada. Apamada is opposite of Pamada. Apamada is not forgetting to perform wholesome deeds and not forgetting to refrain the unwholesome deeds. That is Apamada, heedfulness or diligence. And this Apamada is the foundation for all types of wholesome deeds, all types of meritorious deeds has this Apamada as its foundation. And Apamada, this diligence, is the foundation for wholesome deeds. Therefore, if we want to have the benefits, we want to achieve the benefits, then we should be Apamada. We should have a diligence on not forgetting to perform the wholesome deeds. One time, King Pasenadi Kosala, he went to the Buddha and asked that, Bhante, is there any one quality, is there any one dhamma that keeps the benefits secure, the benefits in this present life and the benefits in the future lives, the both benefits? Is there any one quality or any one dhamma that keeps the benefits in present life and in future life? And the Buddha point out this apamada, negligence, heedfulness. So heedfulness is the one dhamma or one quality that keeps the benefits in this present life and in the future life secure. So this apamada is considered as the foundation of all sorts of wholesome activities, so that one can gain the benefits in the present life and in the future life. And Buddha further said that the footprint of elephant is very big. So all the footprints of all the living beings, can be encompassed by the footprint of an elephant, because the footprint of elephant is said to be supreme among all the footprints of other beings. It is declared as a supreme in terms of its size, the great size. In the same way, the Apamada Dhamma, heedfulness or diligence, is the supreme Dhamma among the wholesome, all sorts of wholesome deeds, wholesome actions. Apamada Dhamma is supreme. Therefore, this Apamada Dhamma can keep the benefits secure in the present life and in the future life. So in the commentaries, the commentators explain this Apamada as the presence of mindfulness, Satya Vipavaso. So Apamada, heedfulness, diligence, is the presence of mindfulness, carefulness, not forgetting to do the wholesome deeds, not forgetting to refrain from unwholesome deeds. That is Apamada. So if a person is delight in this Apamada Dhamma, a person is delight in Apamada Dhamma, and if a person sees the danger in Pamada, negligence, if the person takes delight in Apamada, diligence, and if person sees the danger in negligence, then the Buddha said that then that person will not fall down from the practice of tranquility and insight development or insight meditation, and the person will not fall away from the benefits of the practice, especially the path and truth and knowledge. That means the person is close to the Nibbana. The person is very close to the Nibbana. So therefore, if we would like to attain the path and fruition knowledge, and if we would like to realize Nibbana, then we should have this Apamada Dhamma, heedfulness and diligence, not forgetting the wholesome deeds to perform, not forgetting it. So person who develops this wholesome, Apamada Dhamma, person who is established in this Apamada Dhamma, then he will experience Nibbana, the supreme bliss, Nibbana Sukha. And this Pamada and Apamada are of three types. We can divide it into three types of Pamada and Apamada. The first one is gross type of Pamada and gross type of Apamada. Second one is medium type, and the refined type. The third one is refined type of Pamada and Apamada. We can divide in that way. And the first one, gross type of Pamada, means forgetting to refrain the misconducts, misactions. That is gross type of Pamada, forgetting to refrain the misconducts. The misconducts, bad actions, bodily misconducts, verbal misconducts, and mental misconducts. There are 10 types of misconducts: bodily misconducts, verbal misconducts, and mental misconducts. So forgetting to refrain from those misconducts, when one forgets to refrain, then one will commit the unwholesome actions. One will do killing, stealing, and so on. So that is the gross type of pamada, negligence. And if one is not forgetting, if one does not forget to refrain these types of misconducts, that is gross type of apamada, diligence, not forgetting to refrain from gross, refrain from the 10 types of misconducts: bodily misconducts, verbal misconducts, and mental misconducts. The Buddha has said that in one discourse. The Buddha said that one should be diligent in 4 situations. One should be diligent in 4 situations. One should abandon bodily misconducts, and one should perform bodily good conducts. One should abandon, one should give up bodily misconducts, one should give up verbal misconducts, one should give up mental misconducts, and one should give up wrong views. On the other hand, one should be diligent in performing bodily good conducts, verbal good conducts, mental good conducts, and to develop right view, samadhi. So that way, one should be diligent. The Buddha said in one discourse, the Buddha explained to the monks. So why we should abandon the misconducts and why we should perform the good conducts? Here we should remember that unwholesome actions brings bad results, and wholesome actions brings good results. And if we want to have a good results, then we have to perform, we have to do good deeds. If we don't want to have unwholesome bad consequences, then we have to refrain the unwholesome actions, verbal, mental, and physical unwholesome actions. Good actions brings good results, bad actions brings bad results. So therefore, we have to be diligent in performing good actions, in refraining bad actions. So if we can, we do not forget to perform good, and we do not forget to abstain or refrain the bad deeds, then that type of apamada is the first type, gross type of apamada. If we forget, then that is gross type of pamada, negligence. And the medium type of pamada and apamada, forgetting to restrain oneself, forgetting to restrain one's mind from the sensual pleasures is the medium type of Pamada. And not forgetting, not failing to restrain one's mind from the essential pleasures is the medium type of Apamada. Means if we are letting our mind move freely in essential pleasures, that means we are having the medium type of Pamada, negligence. If we are letting our mind go in the sensual pleasures, move freely in the sensual pleasures, that is the medium type of negligence. But if we can control our mind, we are not letting our mind move freely in the sensual pleasures, then that is the medium type of diligence, apamada. So, panchasu kama gunesu chittasa vasaganu padana means letting the mind go freely in the sensual pleasures. So sensual pleasures, the Pali word, it is kama guna. Yeah, kama, here we can say the sense objects, the five types of sense objects, desirable, very attractive, visible objects, sounds, smells, taste, and tangible objects. These are the kama, the sensual pleasures. And guna means bind or tie up. So when we encounter or when we come into contact with these five types of sensual pleasures, very desirable, attractive, visible objects, sounds, smell, taste, and tangible objects, if we are not mindful and we just let our mind take delight in these five types of sensual pleasures, it means our mind is binded. Our mind is tied up by those sensual pleasures. So we have to be very careful, very mindful. We have to be heedful so that our mind will not be binded by those five types of sensual pleasures. Of course, in the world, everybody will come into contact with these five types of sensual pleasures. We cannot avoid. Whether we are on the retreat or whether we are in the outside world, wherever we are, surely we will meet, we will come into contact with these five types of sensual pleasures: visible objects, sounds, smells, taste, and tangible objects. We cannot avoid. Every time we are meeting those sensual pleasures. Then what should we do? And what is the difference between the people or the meditators and the outside people? The outside people, it means when we are not in the retreat, not on the retreat, when we come into contact with the sensual pleasures, very easily we are attached to those sensual pleasures. When we come into contact, we feel it. And because of that feeling, if those sensual pleasures are very desirable, very attractive, very charming, then we crave for it. Craving occurs. And if we are not mindful yet, if we are not careful, if we are not heedful, then we cling. So when we come into contact, the feeling occurs. Phassa paccaya vedana. Because of the contact, the feeling arises. And we are not mindful at that time. So feeling leads to craving. Vedana paccaya tanha. Feeling leads to craving or attachment. And still we are not mindful of that craving, then tanha paccaya upadana. Means craving leads to clinging. So we cling. That means we are binded up. We are tied up by those sensual pleasures because we cannot restrain our 5 faculties: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. We cannot restrain, we cannot control our 5 faculties. But when we are under retreat, we are trying to be mindful. We are trying to apply mindfulness every moment, every second. Therefore, for the meditators, when they come into contact with these sensual pleasures, craving will not arise because they are mindful. They can restrain their sense faculties. They are mindful, so craving will not arise. And if there is no craving, there is no clinging. So instead, in place of craving, what will arise? Panya. Yeah, because you are mindful. Because you are mindful, you note it, you observe it. So in place of craving, panya will arise. Means craving is replaced by panya, wisdom. So that's the difference between meditators and the outside people when they come into contact with sensual pleasures. Meditators, they can restrain their sense faculties. They can restrain their sense faculties. But the outside world is not easy. It's not easy to restrain. So there is one discourse that the Buddha said that if we want to see the Dhammas very clearly, then we have to be diligent. We must dwell in Apamada. So what happens if one does not dwell in Apamada, or if one dwells in Pamada, heedfulness? And what happens when one dwells in Apamada, diligence? The one talk, there is a one discourse. When one dwells without having a restraint in the faculties, the five sense faculties, means eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. These are the five sense faculties. If one dwells without the restraint in those five sense faculties, then the Buddha said that then his mind is stained by defilements. His mind is stained with the objects. So when the mind is stained, then there is no joy, Pamada, joy. When there is no joy, there is no rapture. There is no rapture. When no joy, no rapture. Piti. There is no piti, rapture. And when there is no piti, then there is no tranquility or serenity. If there is no piti, rapture, then there is no tranquility. His mind is not tranquil. And when the mind is not tranquil, then there is no concentration. If no tranquility, then there is no concentration. And when the mind is not concentrated, one will not see the dhammas clearly. When the mind is not concentrated, one will not see the dhammas, the very true natures clearly. So that means that person is considered as dwelling in Pamada, heedfulness. But in contrast, if one dwells in heedfulness, what happens? So when one dwells, means when one restrains one's sense faculties, one's mind will not be stained. And when one's mind is not stained, then joy arises. Pamada, joy. Joy arises. And when joy arises, rapture arises. And when there is rapture, the mind becomes tranquil. And when mind is tranquil, then the concentration is developed, the concentration arises. And when the mind is concentrated, one can seize the true natures very clearly, very clearly. That means this person is considered as dwelling in diligence. So only the diligent person can see the very true natures, see the true natures very clearly, very distinctly. So in order to be able to see the true natures clearly, one should be diligent, one should restrain one's sense faculties. So if one is able to restrain one's sense faculties, then it can be said that that person has a medium type of Apamada. If one cannot restrain one's sense faculties, then one has the medium type of Pamada, negligence. So, especially the meditators should try their best to have this medium type of Apamada, especially during walking meditation. Yeah, one should restrain one's five sense faculties. One should not see here and there. One should always look down, cast down one's eyes, and one should pay attention to the sounds. One should pay attention to the sounds, the outside sounds. One should listen the sounds. If one is able to restrain one's eyes and ears, especially during walking meditation, then that person has a medium type of apamada, heedfulness or diligence. And the third type of apamada is a refined type of apamada. And what is the refined type of apamada? Being mindful all the time. Being mindful of every arising objects in the mind and body. That is the refined type of diligence, heedfulness. In the practice, when we come to do the meditation, we listen the instructions, and we also know something about the practice, the benefits about the practice. So when we know the benefits about the practice, we also would like to experience, we also like to gain those benefits. And listening or knowing the benefits of the practice, somehow we have a kind of saddha, although it is very weak, because we haven't experienced the benefits through our own knowledge. We do not have a time for analyzing the things. We do not have a time for thinking about the objects. What is this object? Why is it? How is it? And what is next? We don't have a time for all those questions. We just need to catch immediately. We just need to catch it, grab that object with full effort and aiming. So if we are able to practice that way, without analyzing, without thinking, if we are able to observe, able to catch every presently arising objects, then it can be said that we have refined form of heedfulness. We have refined form of diligence, apamada. But instead of noting or observing the objects, if we are thinking about that object, why this occurs? What is this? What will next? What is next? If we are thinking in that way, means we are not mindful. We are not mindful. We are just analyzing. And it means we are having a refined form of pamada, negligence. And again, in the practice, when we keep on practicing, we seize the things, we come to see the natures, and sometimes when we experience the same thing every day, sometimes when we experience the same thing every day, what happens to us? We feel bored. We feel bored. We might have some doubt. And we are talking ourselves. We are doing sitting meditation, but we are not observing the objects. We are talking ourselves. Oh, why is this? Why the same thing occurring all the time? Why I am seeing the same nature? And sometimes we get confused. Am I doing correctly or not? So we are having many questions. We are questioning a lot and we are giving answers also. Yeah, we are talking inside. So talking inside, we are not talking with other people, we are talking with ourselves. So that is also the refined type of Apamada, because we are not mindful. We are instructed to note whatever occurring at that time, whether that is the same experience or the different experience. It doesn't matter. Whatever is at that very moment, at that present moment, we have to catch it immediately. We have to grab it immediately. Otherwise, we lose. Because all mind and matter, they are arising and passing away very swiftly, very quickly. So instead of observing that objects, if we are thinking about that object, if we are questioning, then we are losing our mindfulness. That means we are having the refined form of Pamada, negligence. But if we are able to catch every arising object instead of analyzing, it means we have now the refined form of diligence, Apamada. That's what we have to do in the practice. And again, we should not give up. Yeah. Anikita Durata means we should exert effort until we reach our final destination. We should exert effort until we reach to our final goal, final destination. And if we can exert that effort, it means we are having now refined form of Apamada. We have a determination, a resolution that we won't give up. We just continue to walk on the path. So we reach to the final destination. And also, we are not forgetting to develop the Noble Eightfold Path. We are developing Noble Eightfold Path in order to know the truth of suffering, in order to abandon the truth of cause of suffering, in order to reach the truth of cessations, nibbana. So continuously developing that Noble Eightfold Path is also the refined form of Apamada. So therefore, instead of noting the objects, whenever we encounter some difficulties in the practice, if we become lazy, if our mind slackens, and we are not focusing on the objects, we give up the practice, that means we are having the refined form of Pamada. But if we continue our practice, observing every arising objects at that very moment without analyzing, without thinking, then we are having the refined form of Apamada. And if we have this refined form of Apamada, surely we will reach to our final destination. Therefore, we should develop, especially when in the practice, we should try our best to fulfill with the refined form of Apamada, diligence, heedfulness. And that is very important in the practice. So the Buddha talked about this Apamada in many discourses because it is very important. It is the foundation for the development of wholesome deeds. And this Satipatthana Vipassana practice is the highest form of wholesome deeds that leads us to the path and fruition knowledge, that leads us to Nibbana. Therefore, may you all be able to develop this Apamada Dhamma within you. If you are established in this Apamada Dhamma, you will develop the faculties, the 5 faculties, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, which are the enlightenment factors, so that you will reach to the destination. That's all for today.